Hello fans and welcome to another video. Today we're going to break down the DC animated shows that were announced during the whole press conference thing. So, we got 3 shows that were confirmed to be the next shows to expect. So, the 3 shows were Superpowers, Starfire, and Green Lantern. So, My Adventures with the Green Lantern, Superpowers, and Starfire. Now, to break it down, My Adventures with Green Lantern will feature Jessica Cruz. So we can kind of actually see the breakdowns. It says, My Adventures with Green Lantern will follow high school student Jessica Cruz, who has her life upended when, according to an official logline, a Green Lantern power ring falls from the sky and chooses Cruz to be its champion. Things get even worse when more debris from the Lantern's ancient space war arrives, along with their alien foes. So there's a lot of things that could mean. Great interest, and yes, it will be in the universe of My Adventures with Superman. Now, will there be a crossover? We don't know. But we do know that this will be a tie-in to My Adventures with Superman. Now, we also do know that Green Lanterns were mentioned in My Adventures with Superman, so we do know that there is already a connection. We also know that the Green Lanterns have already been pretty well known within this world. And I think that also means that potentially Hal will be well established, John will be well established, and we may even see a Kyle Rayner. Now, we don't know exactly what this will be like. We don't know exactly what characters they're going to use. But I can speculate that it will likely be the Manhunters, or it may even be other Lantern Corps. Because if we're looking at it, we're looking at the ancient space wars. My first thought is Manhunters, but also my thought is also the Red Lanterns, Star Sapphires, Indigo Lanterns. I feel like we could see multiple Lanterns in this show, and I think that would be a very interesting direction to go. Who knows? We don't really know. This is all speculation, by the way. This is not confirmation at all. But then we have DC Superpowers. And DC Superpowers, meanwhile, is set within the Alliance School for Heroes and follows Lightning, Flash, Plastic Man, Aquagirl, Green Lantern, and Terra. Now, we don't know which Flash and we don't know which Green Lantern, but we can kind of speculate because I assume that we may see all of the major Green Lanterns throughout the DC universe. So, my immediate thought process is Kyle Rayner for Green Lantern and Wally West for the Flash. They're very similar in age range, and I think it makes sense. I don't know if they would make it Barry Allen, because Barry Allen seems to be a student. The Flash seems to be a student in this project. So I think it would make sense for it to be Wally. Potentially, it could be also Wallace. Potentially, it could be Wallace West. Especially if we're thinking, we're going to get different characters within these medias. And there's not necessarily going to be the ones that, we all know. And we already know that Hal and John are kind of involved with the Lantern show. And we know that Jessica is going to be involved in her own show. I think it makes sense for Kyle to be the Lantern in this Superpower show. Now, do we know? No. We don't actually know what any of these are going to be, because we also don't know if these are going to be in the DCU or if these are going to be Elseworlds projects. And from what I've heard, it's kind of based on how well this story implements within the DCU. So it's not so much that we know off the gate where these are going to fit in. We know that Starfire will likely be in the DCU. We know that James Gunn wants Dynamic Duo to be in the DCU, but it may not make sense story-wise. So that will most likely be Elseworlds. So it's more so that they're not opposed to implementing these projects within the DCU, but it's more so if it makes sense timeline-wise for it to be in the DCU. So I think, or if it makes sense, like, what they're doing with the characters, if it aligns with what they're doing with the characters, then they will. But it's interesting. So Lightning, Flash, Plastic Man, Aquagirl, Green Lantern, and Terra, as they try to level up their powers under the supervision of Principal Martian Manhunter. So, to explain this project, it's Sky High, but DC. And it's kind of funny because Sky High is basically a reference in a parody of DC specifically, because if you think about the powers and the heroes that they are very much based on Superman and the Justice League and stuff like that. Like, I mean, you even have Layla, who controls like the plants and stuff like that. So that's like based off of Poison Ivy, obviously. And then Sky High is very much a parody of the DC universe, and the ideas of it. A little bit based off of Marvel too, but very much the superheroes are very much based off of the DC universe. I mean, you have the Speedster, you have the guy who stretches, which, I mean, you could say that it's more like Mr. Fantastic, but I think it's more so Plastic Man, the way that they use him. But you do have these powers that align, and you have this like Mad Genius, which is very much in line with a lot of supervillains. So like, yeah, these things are very, like, it's kind of funny we're doing DC superpowers that's basically like Sky High, when Sky High is basically like the DC universe. But then we also have the last show, Starfire. The show follows her adventures after she uses an ancient spaceship she discovers on her home planet of Tamarin to escape her planet and explore the stars. So this is her origin story. And then along the way, she'll meet space biker Crush, plant-loving Fern, and the magical Amethyst of Gemworld. So this is really interesting because basically what this means is that they're using these like big name people in DC Comics, people are familiar with, and they're implementing smaller characters along the way as well. I think this makes sense because you sell them on the idea of Starfire. Starfire is very popular, probably the most popular Teen Titans character. And then you have her meeting a lot of obscure, unknown characters that people will get to know. This makes sense. This makes so much sense. And I know some people are going to raise their eyebrows. And I think some people will say that Starfire is not that kind of character. But I would argue Starfire is the most memorable part of Teen Titans, aside from Robin. Because Robin doesn't need the Teen Titans to succeed. And neither does Starfire. But Starfire is often told within the Teen Titans team and doesn't really get her own opportunity to shine. And I think we will see that Starfire is that kind of character that will attract people, especially young girls. You're going to have teenage girls watching this. You're going to have guys tuning in to watch this 100%, guarantee it, just for Blackfire alone, because you know they're going to include her. Because, I mean, this is the escape from Tamarin, and I imagine we will see Tamarin in the show, and if we see Tamarin, then we're gonna see Blackfire, because they're sisters, you know, so it's not that far-fetched to believe that if we see Starfire, we will see Blackfire, and people know how people feel about Blackfire, so it's like, come on, guys. They will uncover the deepest reaches of the DC universe, save space dolphins, surf Technicolor nebulas, and boldly soar into the unknown. I truly believe that Starfire will be the entry point to a lot of space characters. There's a lot of characters that are in space Think the Thanagarians, perhaps? Think the Martians, perhaps? Like, we could run into some Green Lanterns, potentially? The Green Lantern Corps, OA? Like, if they're really exploring space, I imagine they could run into a certain sentient planet that happens to be a Green Lantern. Of course, all speculation, but there is a lot of potential for this show. I'm very excited to see what they end up doing with it. And I think you should be too. Amethyst is a very underrated character. Nobody knows who she really is. And I think putting her with Starfire, even though she's not really associated with Starfire, makes a lot of sense. And if you don't know who Amethyst is, do some research, okay? Because Amethyst is definitely one of those characters that is slept on by a lot of fans because they just don't know who she is. And I definitely think she's someone that you should get to know. And honestly, Crush is also another example of someone. She's associated with Lobo. And I think, again, another character that people really need to get to know. So I really appreciate the fact that not only are we seeing big name characters in here, like Plastic Man and Flash and Green Lantern, but we're also seeing those smaller characters come in and are going to be introduced within these projects, and people are going to get to know them and potentially even fall in love with them. Like, there's a lot of potential for these series to truly delve in, and we're going to save space dolphins. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah. We are about to cook. We are about to be spoiled with all these shows, and even if potentially, like, even after these shows are successful, I feel like we open a door that lets us have stuff that's not Batman. Because let's say, for example, we go into this year, we go into this, and, not everything is successful. Cool. There will be projects that stand out that are going to be more successful than others. And even if this show somehow, this stuff somehow fails, we will be able to prove that there are things that people are interested in other than Batman. And I think that is huge because it means that we're not going to be stuck with Batman forever. And I truly believe some of these shows, some of these things will be successful more than people think. And I know there's a lot of adults here that are looking at this and they're being a little bit, wary. But you gotta think, if I'm a kid, if I'm in high school, if I'm someone who's sitting down watching cartoons and stuff like this, would I be interested in this stuff? You have a female-led Green Lantern show with someone who deals with mental disorders. You have a school, high school, full of superheroes, DC characters, led by Martian Manhunter. And you have a show that focuses on an orphaned girl that is fleeing her planet, I should say, trying to find a saving grace in the universe, having a space adventure. These are things that children need. Because if we look at the shows that are being run on TV right now, they all have something in common. And they're all very, very specific in the way that they approach things. And it's time we get those high quality kid shows, children's shows, whatever, that we can enjoy too. Because I guarantee you, I will watch all this stuff. And I guarantee you, this right here, all these things are about to be peak. They're about to be better than the things that we see in the movies. And like, DC animation always hits, except for Teen Titans Go. So I have no fear, no qualms against it. and I'm very excited for these shows. I'm really looking forward to see how they use Jessica. I'm really looking forward to see how this DC high school ends up looking like. I feel like, again, it's going to be sky high. It's going to be sky high but DC, and I think that's really cool. And I'm really excited to see Starfire outside of the Teen Titans, because she has the potential to have one of the greatest solo stories, and she always gets associated with the Teen Titans, but she truly needs her own time to shine, and I think we're about to see it. Because if this show is successful, I guarantee you we will get a Starfire solo run, and that would be so amazing for Corey, because Corey has been trapped with the Teen Titans for so long that she deserves her own time to shine. Let her shine. Let her shine. Comment down below, what show are you most excited for? And let me know what you think of these shows, of these ideas. Which one are you watching first? Just curious. Comment down below, and I'll see you in the future. Bye!